When opening your clay kit, you should find a paper template, 2 pieces of clay wrapped in plastic, and 1 small flat marble. To begin, you want to create an iris and pupil inside of one of the 3 circles at the bottom of your template paper. You do not have to do all 3. I wanted to give you several spaces to create in case you weren't happy with your first attempt. The best way to create your eye is to use a Sharpie or black marker to draw a football-shaped pupil and then color around it in a firework-like burst using 2 to 3 colors, placing your lightest color next to your pupil. You will then carefully cut out your favorite eye. Place glue on the front of your eye and then stick that to the flat side of your marble. It's okay if a little bit of the paper is hanging off the back side of the marble. You're not going to see that once you put it together. We're now ready to move on to the clay portion. Cut off your remaining circles and place the template back inside your plastic bag. Unroll your clay, and then let's get started by dividing your clay into smaller pieces to make sure we have enough for all of the parts. You're going to end up needing a piece for your base, a piece for your eyelids, and also pieces for your details. Take your white clay and cut it in half with a pair of scissors. Then take your colored clay and cut that piece in half as well. Take the white piece set aside for your base and cut a small portion off to add into your detail pile. This does not need to be exact. With the piece set aside for your base, you're going to roll it into a sphere and then flatten it down into a slab that is about the size and shape of the template in your bag. Again, this is a template, a guideline. Don't feel like you have to make it fit that shape exactly. Next, you will take the white piece and the colored piece set aside for your eyelids, and you're going to blend them together. You can decide how mixed you'd like them to be. If you want it to be all one uniform color, you'll need to stretch and mix a little bit longer. If you prefer a marbled look, then stop mixing and kneading a little sooner. You're going to need to make your eyelid piece into the same size and shape as your base. If it feels like you have a little bit too much clay, feel free to cut off a small piece and add that into your detail pile. Once you've formed the eyelid into a similar shape and size as your base, you're actually going to cut that shape in half lengthwise to create upper and lower lids. You will then place your marble in the center of your base and form your upper and lower lids on top. This should overlap your marble so that the lids will hold it in place. Now that we have our eye formed, it's all about details from this point forward. Typically, having some color variation will produce more interesting results. You can change the color of your clay by using just regular markers. Flatten your clay, color with markers, and knead your color in. You can repeat this several times to make your color darker and darker. To create details, spheres, coils, and slabs will help you create some really awesome designs. Rolling thin coils and even twisting 2 different coils together is a great way to add some interest. You can also create texture on your dragon eye by using tools like pencils, popsicle sticks, toothpicks to just poke some dots or even create some lines. You can also create scales by rolling a bunch of tiny spheres and then flattening them into small overlapping slabs on your eyelids. Again, sometimes a lot of color variations will create really interesting results. You can even create small spikes or horns by rolling really tiny coils and having them extend off the edge of your eye. Sometimes it's best to get them placed on and then kind of pinching and pulling them into the shape that you like. The possibilities here are endless. Take a peek at some of the different example photos provided to get some ideas and kind of find the looks that you like the best. When you do finish, you can kind of reshape that eye, and I would leave it on top of your plastic bag to dry. That way it doesn't get stuck to a piece of paper. It'll probably take between 1 to 2 days to totally dry out. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Please, please, please share pictures. I can't wait to see how they look.